Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Happy Monday, yet again. It is April 29th. Yeah, I believe. I think it's the 29th. 30th. I know that Wednesday is the 1st, but I can't remember if there are 30 days in April or 31. So I think it's the 29th. Let's go with that. If not, charge it to my head, not to my heart, please. But in any event, I hope that you're having a magnificent day. I certainly am. The sun is shining ever so brightly. The temperature is outstandingly high. The high is going to be like 89 degrees today, which is, it's nice. It's not too hot. It's a nice breeze. I thought I might have to turn on the air conditioner, but so far so good. I do not. I have the window open though, so there could be disturbances, but hopefully not. And it's just so, it's just lovely. It's just lovely. I feel a fresh breath of inspiration that actually came up for me in prayer. I won't share it with you, but just know that if you're in the market for some new inspiration, it's out there. It's definitely out there. Get quiet, find a moment of solitude, peace. You'd be surprised how you just start praying and considering and proclaiming and contemplating some things, and before you know it, the spirit sweeps in and starts talking to you, and it's like, yes, word, all right, yeah. So that was what just happened to me as I was praying as I normally do, but some other things started to download to me on a personal level that were quite inspiring and empowering, so anyway, hopefully that energy transfers through the message. No promises made, but here's hoping. All right, let's cut it one more time. Oh. Here's the inspiration. Oh, you can't help but laugh at spirit. It be showing off sometimes. Well, here's the inspiration. The aha moment, the new surge of passion, renewed ambition. Man, there's so much I could say, especially on account of what I was just thoughtful and prayerful about. But it's just an upgrade in passion. Maybe one that you didn't know you needed, maybe one that you've been praying for, but certainly one that you can use for some productive ordinance to bring some magic in your life to life, light. Some idea that you've been considering. Here is the enthusiasm, the energy to see it through, whether it be something old, something new. Certainly this gives way to being something new, however, but it doesn't mean that the idea itself has to be altogether new. It just could be a new way of seeing seeing an old idea in new light with a fresh perspective, or again, a renewed energy toward realizing that idea, that invention, or just bringing life to some passion and drive that has laid dormant or has even felt lost to you. Let's see what's under here. Oops. That's the Six of Wands. Definitely some victory and success on account of that. I'll definitely take that out since it slid on out anyway. So that could be an affirmation that, okay, so I'll say, without sharing too much, that what I was kind of guided into more or less like a conscious meditation about was some creative professional endeavors, some of which are old and, well, they're not really old, but haven't been active for some time, that I wanted to reactivate but haven't really felt guided to do so just yet in this season until now. But it also gave me a new perspective on how to initiate those ideas, and gave me a new enthusiasm for the potential of the success of those ideas, of seeing it in a new light, and actually feeling more confident about how I get to expand that creativity. And here is exactly that energy here with the Ace of Wands and the Six of Wands. And then the two of them together, though, is the Seven, if I can take liberty to say, to protect your energy, protect your force field. Even as now, I'm not quick to say exactly what I've been thinking. This is like I can show you better than I can tell you type of energy. It's not swords. This is wands. This is action oriented. So you do a lot better in this season doing the work and showing your results upon completion before you start to talk about it, even perhaps with people that you might trust, because actually here is this with the Three of Pentacles, and this could be a collaborative effort or, teamwork, which certainly does make the dream work. And I feel like there will be a time and a place and an appointment for collaboration and for support outside of your own energetic force field. However, be discerning about when that gets to be, because sometimes you can release an idea prematurely, sharing it just casually, and that's how things are kind of, to the point of the Seven of Wands, can be vulnerable to disruption or corruption, which is a fine line here with the Three of Pentacles. It could be corruption, it could be collaboration. So on one end, you could eventually encounter your soul group or your spirit team or whatever your village of support system may be, to really help you not only bring a vision to life, but carry it beyond a singularly focused magnitude. Because let's just keep it real. There's some things that you can do on your own, and there's some things that do call for support and collaboration. But the key certainly is knowing exactly, discerning that timing, and as I said, with the fine line here with the Three of Pentacles, you could have folks that appear to be working with you, whether they can holistically get the vision or not, and they could still add value to helping you carry it forward. And on the other side of the coin, you could have folks that are wanting to be connected because they see you have a vision. They may or may not have much to add to it, but may want to kind of ride the wave just in case it become something of value, and they can kind of tag along. Or I should say, worst case scenario, so maybe three sides to this: people that want to be connected to your vision, or just to kind of peer in and see what you're doing, so that they can position themselves to assault it, steal it, destroy it, block it, whatever. That's the absolute worst frequency of the Three of Pentacles. Those that want to actually snatch the creativity from your grips. There could be a range of all of those things happening at once, so it really is most important that you protect your creativity with spirit and truth. So that means being discerning of who to connect with energetically, who to share with, who to work with, who to collaborate with, who to invest in, or who to allow to invest in you one way or another, but also in the more practical sense of literally protecting yourself with contracts for said collaborations, with written expectations of commitment between yourself and others that you might work with legal protection, LLC or trademarks, things of that nature. Maybe even securing legal representation before you release a certain invention or a patent in that realm as well, as far as protection before you release a certain idea. Yeah, all of that good stuff. You just want to make sure that you're covering all your bases, so that whatever it is that you may be about to release, or that you're excited to share, can serve as many people and reach as much of the masses as possible unscathed, right? Let me make sure I'm recording. Yeah, I am. Okay, because that would be annoying. All right, so yeah, some big opportunity here for exploration, expansion. Part of me is of a heightened energetic nature, almost like an aha moment or some surge of energy that feels like a gift from the divine at this time, that's going to push you ahead forward and push you into the territories of all the proper support systems and resources and affiliations of all of which I just spoke of. It's going to push you ahead, like almost guide you into that space, almost naturally, as long as you're in rightful synergy with it, is what I'm seeing here. Almost fell off. Strength card. Cool. That's some Leo energy. Be bold in your creativity at this time. Responsibly, but don't lose the edge of the boldness. This is passion. This is fire energy. It's supposed to be exciting. I guess it's like a matter of being responsible with your passion without being too lustful or arrogant, perhaps. But it's still supposed to be, it's still supposed to pack a punch, so don't subdue yourself too much on account of fear, or on account of being too careful with how you roll a thing out, by way of particularly it being in a scope of perfection, is what I'm feeling like most. Like, it's one thing to be protected Protection is one thing, but perfection, if you wait to share a thing, when everything is like perfectly aligned, it may lose its luster, or you may lose enthusiasm for it. And that's the driving force here. So certainly make sure all your grounds are covered, but allow it to be a little, what's the right word? Like, with Leo energy, it's unique. It's sensual. It doesn't mind being center of attention, so don't subdue your creativity to the point where you try to streamline it to, this could even speak to marketing, like trying to make it fit into a box neatly enough, for packaging purposes or marketing purposes, where, you're trying to cater the thing to the trend of the times or to the audience or customer that you think would most be engaged by it or be enticed by it. Allow the thing to be the thing, knowing that because it's coming from your unique perspective of creativity, that it may take on a form of its own and may actually be something that's unlike. With the Six of Wands here, it's a bit elevated from the norm. It's a bit above the fray. Perhaps it is something that can't quite be referenced, because it's different than anything you've ever done or anything you've ever seen or anything that's, on the market at the time. And I don't know what that could be. That could even be a service, of something that you do that you have no reference point for. Don't try to make it have a reference, allow it to kind of stand out on its own. And then you can, after presentation, you can cater that commodity to be whatever it is you feel, would be most suitable for the market that you engage at that point. But I feel like there's something to be said about kind of allowing it to have, I keep hearing like an animalistic nature, kind of wild and free to some extent. I know Business 101 would probably teach you to do the opposite, but this is passion here. This is passion-fueled ambition. And in this day and age, we're knowing that our passion is driving our prosperity. We're leading with it, not the other way around, because that's what's most sustainable. And that's also what, at this time is most, what's the right word I'm looking for? Like it's sustainable for you energetically, but it's the unique things on the market now that are attention gripping is what I'm trying to get to, that do create the ooh, ah response and inflection, like, what's that? Never saw that before, never heard anybody doing that, never heard someone sound like that, never heard anybody say things like that, never seen anybody dress like that, never seen hair like that. Like whatever it is, it's like you're being empowered to exhibit it freely and unapologetically, and just watch how it will result in some material reward or harvest. Wow. And this is the start here. Spiritual fulfillment with the 10 of Cups. That's so confirming, it don't make no sense. Because when you're operating on this frequency, the only next thing to follow would be the materialization of prosperity. This is like being fulfilled in what you do, finding happiness and balance and peace in your ambitions, Your creativity is feeding you energetically and spiritually, and therefore you're never lost for the energy to pour back into it. You know, it's like this is it right here. The most fulfilled you can be living a purposeful life. Wow, 10 of Cups. I love that. Let's see what else we got. And it's almost like the promise too with the 10 of Cups. It's kind of like a rainbow effect, and I often see that as like the symbol of the promise of God, you know, like your covenant with the divine, that when you're operating in pure passion and allowing it to guide you into spaces known and unknown, and just purely exhibiting who you are as the main character of your life. That's what Leo represents, main character energy, unapologetically expressive. Like the divine has to respond, the universe has to respond to that frequency. It is that frequency, and it always wants an outlet in the physical form to manifest through. So when you're giving it the space, the vessel, the stage, it's like it has to show up for the curtain call. It just has to. It's just like a universal law, a spiritual law, that when you're operating in pure passion, you're a magnetic force for divine, I don't even know what to call it, like projection, I guess. Exactly. Looking, you can have great expectations for that. It's like it's no questions asked. Just as sure as you are being unapologetically you, is as sure as you can expect for all the things that are due to you to just flow right on in. That's money, that's stability, that's more inspiration, you know, renewed inspiration to expand upon the idea. That's the support system, that's recognition and rewards, that's confidence and courage, you know, to be also with Leo energy with the strength card, to almost be what's the right word, like damn it, I always forget this word. Turned on is the concept, but it's another word that I'm not enticed, not turned on, to be. Damn it, I know this word, especially with I'm going to find this word. I have to, with the Ace of Pentacles here. It's like, I'm sorry, the Ace of Wands, to be aroused. There it is. There it is. To be aroused by your ambitions. You know, for literally it be a turn on, the things that you do. And well, maybe to be aroused by your own energetic frequency, your own identity, who you see yourself to be in the mirror, is a turn on to yourself. You know, that's the energy here with the Strength card and the Ace of Wands, you know, and that arousal is like sexual energy, but really it translates and transmutes into creative currency, where you're always living in the expectation of success no matter what the endeavor. You know, like you just going to the store, you expect to get a good deal on, you know, to hit some licks on your shopping. Going grocery shopping, to expect to hit licks on the discounts, or you are releasing a new project or invention, you're believing that it's going to have rave reviews and it's going to have a successful, people are going to want to buy it. It's just like you almost you need that force fuel before you even rev up the engine, so to speak, because that is the attractive force. That knowing that even if it doesn't connect with one audience or with one customer, that you'll find your audience, you'll find the prospective customer, because the product is that good. You believe in the product more than you put your faith in. Yeah, it's some really extreme faith here, but in self, though, more so in self and in what you have to offer and your potential. But of course, we know faith without works is dead. So it's not just the ideal, it's the kinetic energy behind your passion. Like believing so much in what you're excited about, that putting the work in is like, it's like breathing. It's your pleasure. Literally, it's your pleasure. Like Chick-fil-A, which I would love to have right now. Five of Pentacles, not an expectation for poverty. I don't even know what this is doing here. Like, that means even in light of, that could be that, like, even if you were to get a response at the onset that may be less than what was expected or less than favorable, maybe not the greatest reviews or not as much traction as you expected once you launched that website or launched that product, or maybe you got a couple no's. And you know what? This really feels like past energy, particularly. It feels like not living in the reference point of loss, where maybe you started something before and it didn't quite materialize the way that you would have anticipated or expected. This is a new horizon of expectations coming from a new force field. This isn't off of the depleted energy. Oh, spit on myself. The depleted energy of a lack of resources, a lack of support, a lack of enthusiasm, a lack of focus, a lack of ambition, a lack of money, drive, whatever, a lack of marketplace. It could be a lack of many of different things. Whatever it is that you felt you were lacking before to bring this ambition to a new light, to give it new life, is not that. This is a new day. So we're leaving this energy right in the deck at the bottom where it belongs and having a new expectation for success and victory, because we say so. Because literally we say so. We are the driving force behind our own creativity, and it's supported and endorsed here by the divine, but certainly conducted through our very being. So it can go as far and stretch as wide as we can imagine it to be at this time, fueled off of our own confidence and courage to just keep going, to just keep driving no matter what. This is so in alignment, man. Yeah, of course. But you know what I'm also getting at? This is like that relentless passion as well, like not allowing the limitations to stop you, but to actually let it drive you. Like, oh, that's a no? Okay, perfect. Almost like being addicted to your own success by your own terms, like not by some, because that's how you can veer into that more diabolical energy of obsession, when it's about pride and ego. No, this is about pure passion, believing in what you have to offer, and in the true nature of the card, which is Capricorn energy, maybe even being your own boss, you know, being relentless about answering to yourself. You know, that's what I'm going to take that energy as. And it could be the frequencies of adversity that would love to limit your expectations, or love to draw you back to when you failed last time, or why you don't deserve this, or why you're not enough, why you don't have the resources or the time or the energy, or why you're not worthy of such an endeavor, an expectation. It could be all of that. But those can also, according to you, again, be the driving force of your faith to even want to prove that energy wrong. Not with pride, but with pure passion. Like I said, it's something about like some like wild faith here, like almost animalistic faith that gets to be put into play. And the thing about it is that unlike much of what you may have to reflect upon from the past, from your endeavors, and it may not be the same thing, but in any way, shape, and form, you got excited about an idea, you pursued it, and it didn't quite, you know, materialize the way that you wanted to, or it didn't have the longevity to sustain. You didn't have it to sustain in one way, shape, or form. Unlike those times, you know, I feel like with this new ambition, this new arousal of passion, you're a different creature now. You've learned and grown a lot. There's even been enough time to allow the creation itself, your creativity itself, to evolve. Perhaps it wasn't time for it to be expressed and it to crystallize then. Maybe your audience, your customer hadn't emerged just yet. Maybe you were that well ahead of your time, you know, that it really was something that was wild and unheard of, and hadn't, you know, like it was revolutionary. It is still revolutionary. But I feel like to step out in that faith now and be met with anything adverse would have the negative effect that it may have had in the past, where you may have just shelved the idea and said, "Oh, forget it. Maybe it's not. Maybe it just isn't a good thing to do, or nobody's interested, or whatever." I feel like it would be even more of a driving force now than it could have ever been before, because there's a certain confidence level here that maybe that's what needed to be curated to meet any opposition face on, to allow it to be almost a magnifier to some degree, to like almost light that flame ablaze that much more, so that this time not only will you surge through the adversity, it will fuel you to expand even greater than what you might have done had you surged ahead, say a couple years ago, or a couple months ago, or a couple decades ago, whatever the timing was, you know. And also you have a different strength and will to confront your own limitations, your own lack of confidence now than you did then, because your passion is now fueled with a heightened level of experience. You know, like sometimes the failures, the missteps, the stop starts, the false starts are all that you need to kind of recalibrate, reassess, reevaluate, to strengthen your perspective, your outlook that much more. That, you know, there's some things personally that I pulled the trigger on years ago that now it's a perfect time, because I'm so much wiser now, and my outlook of creativity is so much more expansive, that if I would have let the idea be what it was then, not only would it might not, had it not been sustainable at that frequency, I would have missed an opportunity to engage a whole nother level of service, whether it be by customer or product, whatever the case may be. Like, I didn't know it at the time because, from my skewed perspective, it was a good idea in the moment. But now it's a great idea. It has so much more fuel and potential now than if I would have forged ahead even then through the adversities that I experienced. It still wouldn't have had the punch and the power that it does now that I'm a much more advanced being, and my creativity and consciousness is more expansive, to not just see adversity for what it is, but to know how to actually alchemize it to my advantage. I may not have had the skill sets to do that productively before. So yeah, like exactly, like hangman position, where it is you may have appeared to be stuck, but you were just gathering information, gathering enlightening, letting your experiences kind of mold and reshape your creativity, becoming wiser, that wisdom behind your creative force is a greater commodity than the idea itself, even than the resources and the capital to support the advancement of the idea. You're a new creature now, completely new. And yeah, perhaps what may have put you in what felt like a stuck or still position, almost perhaps even made you feel stopped in your tracks, actually did you a favor. That's what it comes down to. It did you a favor. It did those that you have to serve and support. Ooh. Okay, Two of Pentacles. Yeah, when you thought you didn't have the resources, or when you actually didn't, it did you a favor not to have it, to just, if I had the funds to to drive every bright idea that I had at the onset of the idea, man, oh man, I don't even know what that would. I would probably be burnt out. That's what that would probably look like, because my ambition is so that I'm never short of bright ideas. And I get one idea and it becomes 1,000 in an instant. It just continues to grow and grow and grow. And I don't suspect that will ever stop, because that's just kind of how I'm made up. But my focus on what I get to exert my energy into, whether it be money, time, attention, all of that, is far more well curated now than just even a couple years ago, where I would have had my hands in. I would have had 10 irons in the fire if I could afford to, really and truly. Would have broke the bank just on account of my ambitions. But now I'm much more focused and grounded than that. Whereas even if it feels like I'm juggling capital, or I'm juggling an investment, or what I have to give energetically, materially to an idea, it's still with the perspective of prosperity in mind. It's not with the lack mentality, first and foremost. It's with responsibility, and what was the other word I heard? With budget, but that's not a good word to use. It's just, I guess, financial I don't know what's the right word, like financial wisdom or control, or there's a word that I feel could best express that. Not really being frugal either, because sometimes that can have a hint of lack or scarcity, but it's really just being responsible and being wise with your resources. I've learned a lot about that over the years in my personal life, my creative and professional life. So all of that is what adds a different value to the possibilities on the horizon at this point. And I'm speaking personally, but of course, I'm sure this has some relation to you. Oh, wow, hold on. We got and the Emperor in reverse. Wow. Hardly ever get that. That could either be external forces that have wanted to control your prosperity, your productivity, maybe poach your ideas, destabilize your ambitions, project insecurity. In one phrase, project insecurity. So this could be like those external influence that I said, the thin line between corruption and collaboration, which is why it's important to protect your vision, protect your energy, protect your creativity all across the board, because this frequency is out there to either deflect to you that, again, you don't have what it takes, you need to just forget about that, what are you thinking, who do you think you are type of energy. And it could be very internal of a projection, but make sure that if it is external, it has nowhere to land or attach to internally. That's also part of that Seven of Wands energy. Like when you see adversity, recognize it for what it is, categorize it, or what's the word? You would think it was the top of Mercury retrograde right now. I thought it was kind of melting off of me, but I'm feeling so hard up for fluidity right now. But to like almost like, what's the word? Come on, Spirit. Qualify it. Yeah. Qualify it, categorize it, tag it for what it is. Sometimes it's our own pride and ego. Sometimes it's our own fears. Sometimes it's projected fears and jealousy and envy. Or just other folks' insecurities being projected onto you when you say you're going to start that business. Maybe you got to quit a job to do it, or maybe you feel like it's time to put your notice in, and those are the voices that say, you know, are you sure you want to do that? Or how are you sure you're going to support yourself? How are you sure it's going to work? And they may have valid points. You know, best case scenario, it may actually be for the purpose of what they believe is your best interest or your well-being. However, you are the holder and the keeper, the conduit of this passion. And it's really up to you what risks you want to take for what level of reward. And it doesn't mean that everybody is called to quit their job, go rogue, and start their own business, or, you know, to jump out the window on the first bright idea that you have. But most of this energy is saying that there's a certain confidence and courage that you have earned at this point to take a chance. Really, not even to take a chance, but to bet on yourself. And everybody is not going to see the value of that gamble, and it's not for them to. So again, on that fine line between those that just want to be of support for your well-being, those that want to just diminish your dreams, like completely kill them and maybe even steal them and throw you off balance from feeling in control and stable and secure in your focus and objection, and to those that, you know, mean well but don't necessarily have the capacity to support you at the foundational point that you may be at right now. You got to keep all of that into perspective and into scope. That's what the Three of Wands is here for. Like, perspective is key. Knowing exactly who gets to be of support, who is of no support or value, and maybe who might have may be able to connect with you perhaps at a later time, once things are more developed or more affirmed and grounded, and, you know, once people can actually see the vision in material form to get it, you know, because everybody just isn't, you know. And it's kind of like you shouldn't have necessarily have the expectation. That shouldn't be the driving force. You can't need to be affirmed by others' understanding and acceptance to keep going or not. Because a lot of times, especially with the most revolutionary ideas, nobody, like I said before, there's no point of reference, and nobody is going to really get it like you do. So if you're waiting for a stamp of approval from anything or anyone outside of you, you could literally be waiting with that Three of Wands for the rest of your life. Yes, balancing resources in the meantime, yet again. And I don't know if that was already there or if I shuffled the deck properly. I felt like I did, but either way, yeah, that we're not managing scarcity anymore, and certainly not as a projection of others. Is if we're having to be frugal with our own resources and time and energy and focus, that's one thing, but to now have to manage that of external forces, that's an immediate shutout and a resistance, in my opinion. You know, in my opinion, that when you get that eyebrow raised or that word of negativity or doubt that comes from folks that you may be more prompted to desire to have support or celebration from, that's a sure sign that you need to batten down the hatches and just lock in to what your vision is between you and spirit and your supreme self. As long as it's pure, it ain't hurting nobody, it ain't hurting you. You're not necessarily, you know, putting yourself at a life or death risk to achieve a certain thing, and you're also not doing it to prove yourself to anyone, even to the naysayers. Then there's no harm, no foul, and you locking in on what you feel you can believe in for yourself with all of your heart. You almost have to do it that way. Almost every revolutionary inventor, mind, star, business person, genius mind of sorts has faced adversity in every way, shape, and form before they saw any victory or success. I don't think there are any stories out there of folks that just got yeses across the board and were escalated straight to the top of the ladder. It just doesn't happen that way. There's a story behind every success. The good thing is you get to narrate that by your own in your own voice, by your own voice. Not allow it to be dictated, or what is it, an autobiographical account of what you coulda, shoulda, woulda done, or how great you would have been if only you had actually tried, you know, like full steam ahead in all the ways that make sense, of course, to you, on the things that enliven you to live the most. Exactly. And look at this. Work, and here's the reward. In that order. Maybe not so much in that order. Maybe the balance and the harmony comes first with the passion and all of that. It could have absolutely been the other way, but it still is the material aspect of all of this is the hard work and dedication that you willingly invest into the things that you love to do. That's really the only thing that's truly lasting, recession proof, tragedy proof, you know, controversy proof, like the thing that you would do in your sleep almost for free if you had to. Like I said, that's the thing that yields the highest return almost automatically, because as I said, the universe can't help but reward you in some way, shape, or form. And if it maybe perhaps it isn't money, maybe this is a side hustle that you do that keeps you sane and allows you to go into work feeling good every day, knowing that there's something else that you do that you're that much more passionate about than what you may feel you so-called have to do. Maybe it just starts there. Like I said, everybody's not jumping out the window, quitting their jobs, or we'd have a hell of a much more of a employment crisis than we do now on account of the quarantine. Yeah, I was going to say quarantine proof, something in that regard. Yeah, maybe something that you do start as a home business, or you can work from home in some way, in the comforts of your own personal establishment. This is the reward here, when you can denounce these obstinate influences, even the ones that may want to rear their ugly head in your own energetic force field. You could just keep your head down and keep working, stay focused on what you truly believe in. It has to materialize. It brings balance to your home as it is. It makes you feel good to come home unapologetic, to take that end of the day rest, or to go on vacation, or to spend time with your family, because you know that you're not. I feel like that's a lot of the contention with peace and rest at a foundational level, is that so many people are feeling forced into servitude, the servitude of society, doing things to so-called survive, that when you get a moment of respite, you either feel guilty for taking it, or it's not even holistically fulfilling. Because in the back of your mind, you're thinking about how you got to get right back into that rut all over again. And it does feel limiting. But there's a balance. There has to be a balance. Whether, again, it's you finding something outside of work that fills that void, or you allowing work to be your passion, or your passion to be your work. It's about life fulfillment now. It's not just about survival. It's not about struggling, striving. It's literally having the audacity to have the expectation of thriving, the expectation to be enlivened by how you live by what you do every day, by the people you're surrounded by who you work with, by the choices that you make to invest your energy, your energetic investments, being proud to be who you are at work and at play, like 360 holistic wellness wellness, by an enriched and wealthy life. It seems like too good to be true, but it isn't. You can literally be the CEO of your life with the King of Swords here. Discerning, objective about what you align yourself with, everything being purposeful is what I'm feeling here with the King of Swords. Being very calculated about what does and does not align with the greatest ideal of a blissful life. We've been conditioned to feel like that's fantastical, or that you gotta retire to experience that. So which means you gotta work your fingers to the bone to get to retirement, which means that you gotta beat the pavement to find the line of work that would allow you to work your fingers to the bone for still just a fraction of a reward or return for that energetic sacrifice. You know, it's like taking charge over how your life gets to be. Objectively, but fueled passionately is what I'm seeing here. All right, let me just do a few more down low. I'm gonna try to go fast because I don't want to be too long. Oh, look at this. Balance. So yeah, when you bring balance to yourself, it brings balance to community, and it also brings universal balance. Look at that with the Temperance card. Like I said, it's like spirituals. It's like the response of the divine with the Temperance card, and it's also alchemy, spiritual alchemy. That is contagious, apparently, quite influential and impactful. That, which is why, here it is. This is why it's of spiritual law that when you operate in a certain frequency of passion, the universe must respond. Because, as I said, you are the conduit. You are the evidence of what gets to be when you operate in a certain function, when you commit to the spiritual nature of yourself, which in a material sense, it is by, like, we do gauge ourselves by our energetic force field, what arouses us, what gives us passion. That's actually what the Strength card represents as well, like the balance between your spiritual and primal nature. Well, we're human beings for the most part, right? Or most of us anyway. So you may not always be able to put your finger on the frequency of your spirit, but you know what excites you. You know what ignites you. You know what arouses you in the primal sense and beyond. And so you can allow that energy to be transmuted materially to also help you to gauge where your fuel might be low and where you may be fulfilled. You know, it's really not rocket science, honestly. It really is a matter of how excited you are to live day to day. And if you're going into work humdrum and tired when you get home and don't want to do anything but watch TV and don't really want to hang out, the frequency of your energy once you've given it all to a thing. But also know when you're doing something that you love, that you can almost get lost in it, or you're around people that you love, because let that not be lost as well with the Four of Wands, which is about partnership. When you're around people that fuel you at your best, that you don't feel depleted, you don't feel tired. You could go on for hours and hours, as the song goes. You want to reconnect, you want to co-create, you want to see where the spark drives you, you want to see what else you can do in this passion and frequency. It's like never ending, and that's the energy that the universe can really conduct through, because it's the frequency that that surges the universal force field of creativity, so that when other people see you thriving and happy to live, they'll be inspired to want to do that as well in their own way. Page of Cups, some emotional offer here, some message that could be a small invitation or offering to consider your spiritual your spiritual force fuel. Like I said, almost like taking inventory or examining what's in that cup. What are you drinking from? Is it tainted? Are you just telling yourself you're happy to do X, Y, and Z, to be X, Y, and Z, to go to this place, to be in this space, to live in this place? Like what really engage in the truth of your spiritual nature face to face, by way of, the check-in points that I just talked about, but it being a foundational check-in from the source. That's what I'm getting from the Page of Cups. And that also means engaging each offer that's extended with that same frequency of, with that same level of like standard, like a high standard of high frequency standard. That if it's not, like there's not a lot that the Temperance card can do with a tainted cup of love, whether it's you considering it from the outside in or you offering it from the inside out. It needs to be pure, even if it's foundational, if it's primal, if it's primitive, so to speak. It still needs to be pure, not tainted with anything, any projection, anything that you feel you need to do, you have to do, you're being forced to do, you don't really love it anymore, but you have to act like you do, or you feel like there's some threat to your security or your mortality, even if you don't. It's like that type of stuff has to be filtered out like Brita at best. Some more like alkaline filtration, I should say Brita at worst, or at least more like an alkaline filtration at best, where only the purest form of love and that's in alignment with the purest essence of you gets to stay. And for some of us, that even means returning to a childlike nature of re-engaging the things that made you happy as a child, or almost return you to a childlike state where you're happy to grow and expand and learn more. You're excited. You're like bright-eyed about each new opportunity and the endless potential. That's the untainted energy of the Page of Cups. Yeah. Pure love. Before we abused ourselves or allowed ourselves to be abused and manipulated and told what we should love, what we should feel, before all that. Maybe you need to do some meditation, or you get to do some meditation, regressing into those states of youthfulness, of times when you could explore your creativity without inhibition, without limitation, for the most part. If you were allowed to do a thing freely without supervision, or without dictation, what would that look like? What did that look like? Was it coloring? Maybe there's an artistic void that you need to fill. Was it playing with your Barbies like it was for me? Maybe there's, for me, it was the style aspect of my Barbie. So I realized that that's the part of me that's missing. That's the void that I need to refill again. So it's just, the Bible doesn't say for no reason to be as little children, because that energy can never be stale. It's regenerative, and before it's corruptive, it's pure creativity. should say before and unless it's corrupted. What's that? Curious. Three of Cups. Yeah. Celebration. Having a good time. Even with others. Enjoying yourself. Woo! Yes, I love it. I know that's right, son. And here's the clouds, but those clouds are they can't stay long. You know, the haze, the confusion, the limitation of choices. It's like the sun is here shining a light, breaking through those clouds so that you can actually see how much more you have to choose from, how much more potential you have beyond what you've been told or what you've told yourself. You know, I'm not even going to give that much life because we know that is not the absolute state of being with the Seven of Cups. It's just not. The sun is what you have access to. Here's the competition. Maybe even want to fight for what you have. Once you get your hands on the sun, you can certainly expect for folks to come out, or that it can bring out the worst in people, or the ego. It can drive the ego in folks beyond the inspiration. But that's not your problem. What's under the deck? Yeah, exactly. We're closing the cycle on that. That cannot be a concern. We're talking about friendly competition as in business. Even that doesn't really exist because what you have to offer is so unique that there's enough for you to succeed, and for anyone that thinks that you are a threat or they are to you, you know, that's their own grapple. That's their own deal to grapple with, their own energy, their own conflict and confusion, their own chaos to grapple with. Is not for you. So we're going to move on because there's a great cycle that's been closed, perhaps on unnecessary competition, or maybe even how you consider competition, maybe in the consideration of your creativity itself, feeling like you aren't as special to succeed above the fray. But this is actually, it's like with the Six of Wands, this is the energy that you've already left behind to some degree. And it's showing up here. I don't know why, you know, maybe it's being exposed unto itself, or as it is, and maybe even the divine showing you exactly like who's for you and who's against you. That could be a big thing here too, so that you know exactly what support system you can rely on when it's time to do so. But in the meantime, like, you're already on a new world cycle here, closing down one that has been limited, that has been staked in maybe even a losing streak, or feeling stuck and stagnant or unsuccessful, maybe feeling unfavorable, to now doing everything with a winning mentality. That's a great feat, to be able to close that energy down and begin in the polar opposite of such. That's the energy worth celebrating by way of that Three of Cups, that makes this competition, like, you know, leave it to its own devices. It don't even deserve to be on the board, except to just beware that it does exist, and it may always exist, but it will never ever stop your shine unless you allow it to. What's that? Hangman again. Yeah, like it ain't stopping nothing. It ain't stopping nothing. One more. Oh, almost dropped the card. Oh, yay! I was just about to say, give me a good one, Spirit, to end this message. Because one thing's clear is that, just as I said with that Three of Pentacles, that energy is like, it's teetering on the line of wanting to be an obstruction, wanting to be a distraction, a corruption, a collusion against you. But it's like when the Spirit is for you and you are operating in your purest function, your highest frequency, you're focused on you, you don't even see the haters, like you're blind to the bullshit, it's like you can't help but live in this overflow of fulfillment and happiness and peace and tranquility. Even when adversity may arise, there's always a return to this natural order, because it comes from an internal place. It's cultivated from within. Here at the Temperance energy, when you have submitted yourself to alchemizing every experience, every opportunity, good, bad, or indifferent, to work in your favor, to be productive, to be prosperous, this is the response of the divine. It must pour out onto you, into you, through you. It's just a natural response. And to think that all you gotta do is be natural. And the only thing that makes that hard is the projected energy that tells us that everything natural about ourselves is wrong or less than or unrighteous or whatever the case may be. But to almost go against the grain of what everything else is telling you, for the most part, is almost the standard of success, truly, and the most supreme, by the most supreme standards, because that's the pathway to really putting yourself in this flow of prosperity here, this well that doesn't run dry from the inside out, where you're literally just happy to be alive. How about that? How about that? No frills, no trills, no spills. Literally just regenerating peace and happiness. This is the wealth that is eternal here. To just be happy to be alive. Not on the sense of, well, I'm just happy I made it, child. Like I could have been dead long time ago. Not that energy of I'm happy to be here, but literally just swimming in the grace and gratitude of life, because you are who you say you are, and you love it. You love you. That's also what this is, loving yourself from a supreme space internally. You're doing what you feel called to do, what you feel excited to do, what you feel designed to do, and you're reaping all the rewards and the benefits that you feel are due to you on that account. I mean, what better life does there get to be? Everything else is like a no thank you. With this Two of Swords, like, what are we doing if we're not doing that? Exactly. Like, it's justified. The opposite has been true for us, to be conditioned to feel like that's preposterous, to have that level of expectation of life, this wretched life. You should just be happy to be breathing. And yeah, there's a gratitude for that at a foundational level for sure, but you get to be happy to express the very essence of you from every orifice of creativity, and by your own standard, between yourself and your supreme, and on your own terms, not regulated by anything outside of that, of course, within the scope of what is law and what is, justified, of course, but even there being a reverence for that and not being a limitation, but just a scope of security for you and for anyone else. That's not limiting at all. That's enlivening, especially when people can actually adhere to it, you know? But this is the justice of being able to say, like, you've earned the right, as I said, to be able to say no, or to block yourself, to be resistant, to be indifferent to anything that is not passion driven. To literally, like, if it doesn't arouse me to live, then I'm not engaged. I'm not amused. I do not endorse it. Period. And with the justice card here, it's like really reconditioning yourself to believe that that is your right, your righteous right. By spiritual law, you are entitled to live exuberantly. That's that on that. All right, so I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you, Spirit, for a quite empowering message. I receive it. I hope that you find something of value to receive as well. Until next time, as always, I'll leave you with peace.